The presentation looks at different type of consumer behavior theory and how two brands such as Ralph Lauren and Lacoste uses consumer behavior theory in their marketing communications. On this slide, I'm going to talk about the two brands I'll be using throughout this presentation, which is Ralph Lauren and Lacoste. Ralph Lauren is a luxurious premium family consumer brand. Their products include accessories and fragrance collections for men and women, as well as children's wear and home furnishings. The brand first started with menswear and entered new markets. The Ralph Lauren brand is created for a consumer that values quality, exclusivity, style, fine living, and prestige. On the other hand, we have Lacoste, a French average premium brand. Lacoste also started with menswear and developed as a family consumer brand. Now they do men's, women, children, and they also do tennis rackets. The brand is seen as proud, adventurous, freedom of the mind and movement. So we can say it's actually quite a sporty brand. Here I'll be talking about what is meant by involvement and the different types of involvement. So involvement is what drives a consumer to show interest in a product or actually buy a product or use a service. It can be defined as the degree to which an idea is centrally related to the value system of an individual. So on the right of the slide, we have different types of involvements. We have product involvement. For example, there are some Apple consumers that buy a new iPhone whenever a new phone comes out. We have a message response involvement. For example, you might follow a brand on social media, although you might not use their product, but because you agree with their messages and their content, you follow them and get involved for that reason. We have post-sale situation involvement. That's like buying a car or a house. You might go visit showrooms, so you're involving with a brand. We have enduring involvement. You might not intend to buy the product or use the service, but you have ongoing involvement with the brand. We also have ego involvement, which is like collectors. Some people collect Lego, so we can say they have an ego involvement. Or people who want to be seen with the latest fashion. On the previous slide, I talked about different types of involvement. This involvement can be labeled as high involvement or low involvement. High involvement means the product or service comes with a higher risk. For example, buying a car, a designer bag, or a house. And low involvement comes with lower risk. For example, buying a bottle of water, the consumer don't have to think a lot before reaching step number 4 on this figure, before reaching a purchase decision. While on the high involvement product, we'll spend a lot of time on step 2 and step 3 before reaching step 4. On this figure, we have different risks that can affect consumers' involvement process. Marketers look at those risks in a way to make it easier for the consumer to be involved, whether by convincing them the risk will be worth it or if there are not much risk involved, so the consumer doesn't get frightened by the risk. For example, a brand might advertise itself as although we're expensive, but our product will perform like it's advertised and it will do the job. If you think about those risks, these are the type of question that might go through a consumer's head. For example, for monetary risk, the consumer might ask, can I afford this? And for functional risk, the consumer might wonder, will it work? if the product work, especially if it's a new product that they're buying because they never used it before. And for physical risk, the consumer might wonder if they can manage the product on their own. For example, buying a bed, you might ask yourself, oh, can I build it by myself, or do I have someone to help me build the bed? And for social risk, it's like how people will see me with this product. Will it help me become more confident by using it? And psychological risk is how society will view me with this product. On this campaign, Ralph Lauren is trying to communicate to the audience that the brand value family. They uses influencers alongside their actually family members, and each talking about what family means to them. They all have different descriptions of what family is to them, and the people are very diverse so that the audience can relate with the brand. Perception in marketing is how we view a product, service, or a brand. It's our interpretation of a product or a service situation based on the marketing activities we have been exposed to using our senses. On the figure below, we have a perceptual process. They have different stages a person goes through in order to create a perception, make a product or service meaningful to them. As a brand, we want consumers to have a perception that reflects who we are as a brand. For example, McDonald's is perceived as cheap and healthy, but tasty and fast. Sensory marketing is part of perception. It's because it's through our senses that we detect stimulus, which is a change in our environment. Sensory marketing is about attracting consumers' senses to encourage them to engage with our brand and use our product or service. Color is very important because not only it makes things look good, it can have a meaning. According to a source, 98% of buyers focus on the visual appearance of products. And out of that 93%, 84.7% of buyers claim color is the primary draw card. Research has shown if color is used alongside other references, it can influence consumers' purchase decision, how they see things, their emotions, and choices. This is one of the Ralph Lauren shops in London. It has a very old-fashioned layout with warm colors, mostly brown. And according to some research, brown has an earthy and environmental quality. It is used to represent calmness, boldness, depth, nature, richness, tradition, dependability, friendliness. The writer described the store as it's like your dream living room, meaning that it's comfortable, which might stimulate consumers to stay longer in store. If you look at the previous slide with the Ralph Lauren store, the lighting is less brighter than the Lacoste. It has more warm colors, while Lacoste store has more cool colors, mostly white, which represent clean and light. It also has some elements of green, which represent nature, fresh, calm, which also reflect the brand's logo of Lacoste, the green crocodile. Motivation refers to the process that causes people to behave as they do. From a psychological perspective, motivation occurs when a need is aroused that the consumer wishes to satisfy. Needs lead to motivation. For example, if I'm hungry, it it will motivate me to go inside the shop to get food, buy ingredients to cook, or look inside my kitchen to see what I can eat so that I'm no longer hungry. If I eat, my need is satisfied. Needs are not always what motivates us to take action. It can also be wants. For example, I might buy a new dress, not necessarily because I need it, as I already have lots of dresses. I'm buying this dress because I want it. On the previous slides, I talked about how needs lead to motivation. Therefore, on this slide, I'm going to talk about different type of consumer needs. First, we have biological needs. These are basic needs that humans need to survive. For example, food, shelter, protection. Utilitarian needs is getting something for the benefit of what it gives us outside of its main use. For example, the reason why we all buy cars is to move to places, but we all don't buy the same car. Some people prefer luxurious car because it makes them look cool and stand out to others. Hedonic needs is getting something for pleasure. For example, going to the cinema, buy a PS4 because we might be sad and lonely and need something to make us feel happy, or just because we want some fun. Psychological need is getting something because you believe it'll make you feel better by consuming it. For example, it will give you power. Others might be proud of you or agree with you or compliment you for using it. Here I'll be talking about motivation theory. We have a push theory where marketers try to threaten the consumer to take action. This strategy is mostly used in car ads, health and safety ads, such as stop smoking ads. On the other hand, we have a pull theory, also known as expectancy theory, which is like the opposite of a push. It's letting the consumer know that our product or service will be right for them, not forcing them or being pushy, but letting the consumer come toward us. For example, showing them our product or service is so good that they might miss out if we don't take action, instead of telling them take action now if we don't want something bad to happen. On this Ralph Lauren campaign, it shows we are a brand that promotes sustainability. We care about the earth. It's not pushy, but it's encouraging. It's shot in the middle of a forest to show the beauty of nature and uses a lot of green colors, which is the color, according to psychology, that's related to nature and tranquility and is used to relax customers. The ad has the following message: G's 100% recycled, 100% Polo. One Earth Polo recycles 12 plastic bottles, and by 2025 we aim to collect 170 million plastic bottles. As usual, the brand uses models in a beautiful nature environment collecting plastic bottles. On this Lacoste campaign, it has a message that 3,520 polos will be replaced with different endangered species. So instead of having the Lacoste crocodile logo on the t-shirt, instead we'll have different endangered animals on the t-shirt, on the polos. And those 3,520 polos will be sold in 10 different countries, and all the profits will go to the IUCN, which is a program that works to save endangered species. It's telling the audience, if you buy one of those polos, you're making a change and saving endangered species. When we think of co-consumption, it's the belief that consumers' decision is not always entirely to them. We take account into what people who are close to them think. When we think about people who are close to us, we think of our family members, or our pets, our friends. However, it can also be people outside of our family or the people we know in person. It can also be opinion leaders such as doctors or celebrities we look up to. I'll be focused on the family. Marketers categorize different households to help them aim their marketing activities so that it is more accurate and it goes to the right people. On this figure, it shows 6 different types of households in the UK and their numbers. The graph shows there are more single households than any other type of households in the UK. Couples without children comes second, and couples living with children comes third. And fourth is lone parents with children. Fifth is 2 or more unrelated adults. And sixth is multi-family households. However, the research is not very specific. For example, it doesn't tell us what type of couples are living in the household. For example, if it's with 2 same-sex couples or the number of people living in the households. On this slide, I'm going to talk about how households make decisions. On the left of the slide, we have a different type of household decisions. We have a consensual passage. This is where the family all says their views and they come to a conclusion together. For example, if we were to decide which country to go on holiday, they can have a meeting and have a vote. And the next one is accommodation passage decision. This is where the members have different preferences and they all cannot be met individually. So one member come up with a final decision, most likely the one with more power. And the last one we have heuristic decision. It's when couples agree on how to reach a decision so that it doesn't cause conflict. For example, it can be I'll pay for the TV and you pay for the internet, or we pay 50-50 on house bills. This is Ralph Lauren holiday campaign for 2020. I talked about it in the message involvement. This is the same campaign, but they took it on social media and featured more influencers with their families. We have different type of families on the post to show diversity, such as same-sex couple. As you can see here, we have 2 male couples with 2 children, and the campaign focuses on showing that we have something for all the household members. Lacoste was different to the way they reached different families in their campaign, as Ralph Lauren had families together. Example of 2 dads and the 2 children, while Lacoste only had children in their campaign. Past research has concluded that the influence of children varies with the type of product and the decision stage. Children or adolescents are more influential when they are the primary consumer, for example, for clothes, toys, snacks, breakfast cereal, and school supplies. So the ad focuses on attracting the child, as at the age they are promoting is old enough to make their own decisions, or will be parents or carers that will end up paying for it. Since the utility of a product is aimed to the children, they have more influence. Throughout these presentations, we have learned that there are different consumer theory that can impact on consumers' behavior and their decision making. We have learned that things such as Colors, sounds, smell, people that are around us, our moods, our environment can all have an impact on our decision-making process.